Welcome back to Devi Daly Yoga, and welcome back to the 14-day Yin Reset. We're on day number 8, which means we're halfway through, so congratulations for making it this far. Today we're going to be doing some back bends, and the idea for moving into the second half of the program is we've built an awareness of the basic postures, how to modify them. We're starting to build this intelligence about what works for our own body based on how it feels rather than how it looks, and that means we can start to add on to that. And what will be helpful for the back bends we're going to explore is props. And so no specific props, because I'm just going to give you options, but whatever you have available in your yoga prop arsenal, which might just be the pillows around your house. The firmer you can get your pillows to be, the better. Or if you want to steal some cushions off of your sofa, those big firm ones can actually be quite nice to use. And yoga blocks and a bolster if you happen to have those. So we'll go ahead and start on the belly in Sphinx pose. You can have your weight resting on your forearms. Legs can be closer together or farther apart, maybe as wide as your mat with your feet, maybe a little narrower than that. See what feels right. Feel the tops of your feet on the ground. Feel your hands and forearms on the ground. And take a breath right into your buttocks, your tailbone area, your sacrum. As you exhale, feel the sacrum soften down into the earth, into the front of the body. And now as we come into our second minute here, option to lift up into seal pose or to just stay right there in the Sphinx. Starting to feel into this range of motion of back bending. We'll take an inhaling breath, lifting the chest, lifting the crown of the head. Staying here as you exhale, feeling the tailbone once again softening toward the front of the body, legs relaxing. And slowly now releasing, resting your forehead down on stacked hands and feeling the effects of the pose in your lower back, sacrum, lumbar, spine. Feeling the length that's been created in the front of the hips. And now lift the head, take the hands to either side of the chest, press up and back to child's pose, and rest here for 1 full minute. And feeling the back bend in the opposite direction. Breathing into your back. Rising back up, to hands and knees and into dragon pose. So pad under your back knee if you'd like to. Right leg comes forward. And here, since we've been through a few variations of dragon at this point, it's just your choice, yogi's choice of what kind of dragon pose to do, with the idea that we are thinking about this being an asymmetrical back bend. Left side of the back is back bending, front of the left hip is back bending. And so what variation feels good to your body today? Maybe the hands on either side of the foot, maybe both on the inside, maybe using your blocks. And now here's an option if you have blocks or firm enough support to do the supported version of dragon for our second half of a minute here. A couple of blocks under the thigh and then simply lifting up. You can inch this front foot forward as far as feels good, continuing to feel this as a way of lengthening the front of the left hip. Some of you might be more comfortable just dropping down to one block. And of course, some people will do a full split on the ground, but that's not happening for me. And you could place your hands behind your back or any position that feels good right now. Slowly releasing your dragon pose, coming into downward dog. If you want to use your blocks under your hands again, go for it. And we'll walk the legs. And stepping into dragon on the other side, left leg forward. Your choice of which version to do for this first minute. As you feel the length in the front of the right thigh, front of the right hip, breathe into your body and consider if you want to move into that supported version or not, blocks or firm cushion under the thigh. I like this support in a certain place, which is not quite under the tailbone. It's a little farther down on the thigh, but it's not in the middle of the thigh. And other people like it directly under the tailbone. So it's really individual. Feel it out. Finding your one-sided back bend. Maybe exploring your torso and whether it wants to tilt to the right or the left or twist to the right or the left. Breathe. And releasing, stepping back once again to downward dog. We're going to drop the knees down, come into child's pose, rest in child's pose. 1 more minute. Slowly coming up and sitting over to one side to come onto your back. We're taking it into happy baby pose. Draw the knees in, roll side to side. Maybe you're just holding the knees, maybe you're holding the feet, and just tuning into the happy baby nature of ourselves right now. What feels good to do with these legs? After our 2 more back bendy poses, now we're giving ourselves a little break from back bending to do forward bending to stretch the low back. And it might feel good to cross the ankles, cross the shins, and do this like upside down shoelace pose and rock side to side like that. And let's cross the other way if we're doing that one. Could even cross the knees all the way over if your body does that. All right. Releasing and taking it into Golden Gate pose. You need something firm, a block or a bolster or another firm cushion under your seat like so. Please do lie down first to get in this. It's a lot harder to get into it if you sit on your block and then lie back. We're going to take 2 minutes in this Golden Gate pose. And wherever you are at this moment, in your pose, in your energy, take a deep breath in, fill your belly, your heart. Exhale, soften your spine. Relax your hips. Relax the back of your neck. So let's take one more breath into this open, soft front of the hip, front of the pelvis. And exhaling, and we'll slowly bend the knees. And coming now into supported snail. So once again, bending the body the opposite way. And here's your choices for supported snail. You can just keep your knees bent in like I am, or you can extend them up straight up into the air. Or start letting the legs come over the head toward something that looks more like a snail. So just 1 minute here to feel some way of stretching into the low back. I like to turn my block to meet the angle of my sacrum, just so that my sacrum's not jamming into the corner of the block. And your hands could rest on the floor, they could hold your block, or they could start to travel up your legs. Maybe touching the feet, holding the feet if you've got that range of motion. Play around with opening, widening the legs, crossing them. And we'll slowly now bring the feet back down to the ground, lift the hips off the block, and rest on the back. Bringing the feet together for a Supta Baddha Konasana rest. Knees can open wide and the hands on the front of the body, one on the belly, one on the heart. Resting here, feeling the effects as we get into this area of the body, this kind of energetically potent area of the sacrum and the pelvis. Take a deep breath into the low belly, the pelvis. Exhale. Bending your knees now and rocking side to side. Just feeling this low back, sacrum. And roll to one side to come up to sit. We'll take a counter pose, yin pose. Once again, the caterpillar, both legs together. Feel free to sit on a cushion or use props under your forehead as we come forward for 2 wonderful minutes. Stretching the opposite side of the body now. Stretching the back fascia, the legs, backs of the legs. Your hands might be on your shins, your ankles, your feet, or the floor. Slowly release, caterpillar. Come onto your back. rest on your back for one wonderful minute to soak up the wonderful sensations of having lengthened the front body in a few different ways, and now the back body. Notice the energy. Notice any sense of aliveness in the tissues of your body. Taking a breath right into the core of your body and breathing out from the core. Bend your knees, hug them into your chest. And now with one hand on each knee, circle the knees towards your left, bring them close in, circle them around to the right and forward. So keep circling in this direction for 3 circles. Really slow so we can feel the sacrum and the low back and all the fascia back here. And after about 3 circles, go the other way. Three times, more or less. And now where we're headed is saddle pose. So we'll need to roll to the side and come up to set up. If you're familiar with saddle and have your variation, then you have 3 minutes starting now to come into it. I'm going to run us through some of the propped variations for our friends who might not be as familiar with the modifications. And so here's the idea of inclining the bolster, usually something under the head. I'm sitting directly on my heels now and coming back and putting this support under my head. Notice I'm not sitting on the bolster. I can actually reach my hand under my lower back here. You might need something underneath your seat, like another block. And I do have a whole other video on saddle where we spend more time exploring the different variations. And now slowly start to come out of the pose. You could untuck one foot like that or push up in some way, which is always kind of hard to get out of it. And then we'll come into a rest, a rebound on the back. Moving gently, feeling your body. Feeling especially any particular sensations around your sacrum, low belly, hip flexors you might have been in. Let's take a deep breath into the whole body now. Exhale. And we'll continue our final relaxation right here like this, or in legs up the wall pose. So that's where I'm gonna head. If you're not finding yourself wanting to move right now, then stay where you are. And allowing yourself to rest now. Now that the posture sequence is over, and it's time to just be, to absorb the benefits, to bask in the sensations. And this is the time to let the energy flow. And now taking a deep breath into the belly and into the heart. And as you exhale, gently stretch out your arms. As you bend your legs, stretch the arms overhead and press your feet into the wall. Now let's just roll over to one side and very slowly, very gently come up to sit. Finding a comfortable sitting position. Taking 3 breaths here to bring a close to the practice. Inhale. Exhale. Feel your connection to the earth. Inhale into your spine now. And exhaling. Inhaling into your heart. And exhaling, palms together in front of the heart. And that's our practice today. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next time.